Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are taking a really close look at something deep inside us, a way of thinking that's so common now. It's like this invisible wall. It doesn't just block us from connecting with people, truly connecting. It actually stops us from, taking in new information, moving forward in this complicated world.
Yeah.
We're diving deep into modern cynicism, what it is, and what it really costs us.
And it's way more than just like a personality quirk, isn't it?
Oh, definitely.
Our main source for this, el cinismo, invitación a la conciencia. That's cynicism, an invitation to awareness, argues it's a serious distortion of how we see things. It takes away our power, our agency.
It's like an intellectual sickness really thriving today.
Exactly, in this information age.
And the authors, they don't mess around. No slow build-up. They hit you right away with this powerful thought experiment. It's designed to kind of check your own internal temperature on this.
Yeah, we want you listening right now to do this with us.
Okay, ready? Let's unpack this. It's pretty simple on the surface.
Here's the setup. Imagine I just look you right in the eye. No context, nothing. And I say clearly, I'm going to give you a gift.
Right, just like that. I'm going to give you a gift.
Now, just take a second, let that sink in. What is your very first thought? The immediate gut reaction. No filtering.
Because our source material says there are basically 3 ways people react psychologically to an offer like that, out of the blue. And where your mind jumps first, well, it says a lot about your current view of the world.
Okay, reaction number 1. This is simple acceptance. It comes from optimism, maybe, or just being used to social pleasantries.
So you might think, oh, that's nice, or how generous.
Yeah, or what a pleasant surprise. You basically accept that there could be a genuine, maybe even altruistic reason behind it.
Okay, reaction 2. This one leans more towards a self-assessment, like, do I deserve this?
Right. You might instantly think, oh, I must deserve this, maybe because something you did recently, or perhaps this shows how valuable I am to them.
It's like you're checking the balance sheet, looking for a reason based on past good deeds or your own worth.
Exactly. It's about reciprocity, but based on positive evidence you already have.
But then there's a third reaction, and this is the one that really kicks off this whole deep dive. It's the immediate jump to suspicion.
Yeah. Do you instantly think, okay, what's the catch? Or this gift must be junk, or even worse, they're only giving this to me to manipulate me somehow?
Is your first thought that I must have some secret agenda, that this gift is just a tool for my own benefit, and whether it helps you is like totally secondary?
Or maybe even irrelevant.
Right. If your mind automatically went there to manipulation, to hidden self-interest, then the text suggests you might be carrying around this heavyweight modern cynicism.
You didn't even stop to evaluate. You went straight to assuming the worst motive.
Yeah, condemnation. And that deep suspicion, that's the roadblock we're here to really analyze today. And maybe, just maybe, help figure out how to dismantle it.
And that really sets up our mission for this dive, doesn't it? We have to go beyond just saying, oh yeah, people are distrustful. We need to really understand this harmful thinking.
Put it in context.
Exactly. Contextualize it. Separate it from just being reasonably cautious, which, let's be clear, is vital. You need caution.
Of course.
But we need to separate that from this corrosive, all-consuming cynicism. We'll dig into the real costs, and the source hammers this home. The cost isn't paid in money. It's paid in loneliness, missed connections, feeling drained.
Yeah, spiritual exhaustion is a good way to put it.
And then finally, we'll give you the tools, the conscious, actionable things the text suggests for working your way out of this mind trap.
Okay, let's start with defining our terms, because cynicism is a loaded word, right? It has history.
A lot of history.
If you say cynicism, a lot of people, especially folks who are well-read, their minds jump straight to ancient Greece. They picture Diogenes.
Right, Diogenes of Sinope, living in his giant ceramic jar, supposedly, rejecting everything, society, money, expectations, all in the name of virtue and like radical self-reliance.
That's the classical image.
And we need to be super clear here. What we're dissecting today is not a critique of that philosophical tradition. Classical cynicism was a discipline, a school of thought about achieving urete, virtue, through independence and indifference to social norms.
Their goal was freedom, in a way. Freedom from vanity.
Exactly. But the source material draws a sharp line. We're looking at its modern and pernicious version. This isn't really a philosophy. It's more like an automatic defense mechanism.
A reflex.
Yeah, an emotional and intellectual reflex. The source calls it a disease of the spirit. It's not aiming for virtue, it's aiming for psychological self-protection, whatever the cost.
Okay, so if we strip away the classical philosophy part, what's at the heart of this modern pathology? The text breaks it down into basically 3 core beliefs that build on each other.
They form this relentlessly negative, kind of self-reinforcing worldview.
And the first one, absolute bedrock, is this belief in universal self-interest. This is non-negotiable for the modern cynic.
Right. It's the idea that every single person, no exceptions, always acts out of hidden, selfish motives. And those motives always trump any concern for the common good or shared values or genuine kindness.
It's not just saying people can be selfish sometimes. It's saying they only act selfishly, deep down.
That's the absolute mandate.
Think about how that plays out day to day. Like at work, your boss gives you really positive feedback. The cynical mind doesn't just take it as, oh, they appreciate my work. It immediately translates it. They're only saying this because they need me to work late this weekend, or, oh, they're softening me up so I won't push for that raise.
The compliment itself gets totally disconnected from the stated reasoned appreciation and gets tied only to some hidden manipulative goal, like exploitation.
It poisons the well immediately.
And once you buy into that premise that all motivation is secretly selfish, you naturally arrive at the second pillar, the denial of authenticity.
Makes sense. If everyone's only out for themselves, then genuine kindness or generosity or even shared sadness, it can't really exist in that framework.
The cynical view just can't process it. It denies that there can be real, uncalculated reasons for doing good things, for understanding someone, for just being decent.
You see this everywhere, don't you? Like with volunteering or charity work. If I spend my Saturday at a soup kitchen...
The cynic refuses to believe you're just there to help feed people.
Right. The cynical read is, oh, they must be doing it for a tax break, or they just want to look good on Instagram, or it's purely about making themselves feel superior.
There's absolutely no room for a simple, genuine motive, which, when you think about it, strips so much richness and humanity out of the world.
It really does.
And when you combine that universal self-interest with denying any real authenticity, the whole world starts to look like the third tenet. The world is a trap.
Everything becomes suspect.
Everything. This view assumes every conversation, every news report, every political promise, even a kind word, it's automatically a lie, or at least a carefully crafted partial truth designed specifically to manipulate you.
So the world feels like it's just full of
thieves, liars, and swindlers, as the source puts it, always waiting to snatch away what we value most, whether that's our money, our emotional stability, our peace of mind.
It sounds exhausting, like being under siege constantly, but the attack is coming from everywhere, even friendly faces.
It is exhausting, and this is where the source material delivers this really shocking insight. After building up this whole cynical worldview, it hits you with this. The entire structure is profoundly useless.
Useless, that's a strong word, because cynicism often feels like it's smart, right? Like you're savvy, you see through the BS.
Exactly. It masquerades as intelligence, as street smarts, as protective wisdom. But think about it. If you truly believe, absolutely, that everyone always lies and always manipulates for selfish reasons, well, where does that leave you?
Stuck.
Completely paralyzed. The system just collapses into inaction. If you believe the game is rigged from the start and everyone's just using everyone else,
then why bother trying?
Why bother? Why commit to anything difficult or meaningful? Why, as the text asks, pour your heart into your work if you assume the outcome is just down to office politics and who you know? Why build a family if you secretly believe all relationships are just transactional, waiting to fall apart?
It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, doesn't it?
Totally. And it's self-sealing, because it prevents you from ever finding evidence that might challenge the cynical view.
How so?
Well, if you assume everything you hear from news, from science, even from your partner, is potentially a lie meant to manipulate you,
then you can't trust anything. Finding objective truth becomes impossible.
Right. The cynic hasn't actually become wiser. They've just locked themselves in this narrow little echo chamber where their suspicion is always confirmed. Not by evidence of malice, but by the assumption of malice.
They filter everything through that negative lens first.
And they never allow contradicting evidence in.
So it's like an intellectual dead end. You assume the worst, so you withdraw.
You don't engage, you don't take risks.
And because you withdraw, you never encounter the genuine kindness, the honest colleague, the unexpected good deed that might have made you question your bleak outlook.
You ensure you stay stuck in that negative loop.
Profoundly useless for actually living a full life.
Okay, so we've painted a pretty bleak picture of what modern cynicism does, how paralyzing it is. But now we absolutely have to make a critical distinction.
Right, because as the source material points out, this way of thinking doesn't just appear out of thin air. There are reasons people become distrustful.
Exactly. We need that nuance. Human beings are complex creatures.
That's the tricky part, isn't it? We're not sitting here saying you should just blindly trust everyone you meet with your life savings. That would be foolish.
Absolutely not. The text grounds this in reality. Look, we do have selfish tendencies built in. Survival instincts, wanting resources, comfort that's real.
Yep.
But, and this is crucial, our success as a species, why we thrive, is entirely down to cooperation. We're social animals. Our survival literally depends on others doing well too, on mutual benefit.
So there's this built-in tension.
A constant tension. Therefore, being distrustful sometimes, being cautious, doing a quick risk assessment that's not only natural, it's essential. We need caution when we don't have all the information, when there are no guarantees, or, importantly, when we've actually seen clear red flags.
Like actual evidence of bad behavior.
Yes. Evidence? If someone has let you down 5 times in a row, being wary the 6th time isn't cynicism. That's just sensible risk management based on past experience. It's proportional.
Okay, so that's the line. Cynicism isn't proportional. It skips the evidence part.
It skips the evaluation entirely and jumps straight to the harshest possible conclusion, an absolute condemnation.
But let's push on that a bit. What about situations where, say, large institutions, governments, corporations, maybe even media outlets consistently seem to act in their own self-interest, sometimes at the public's expense? Isn't a high degree of cynicism, or at least deep institutional distrust, a pretty rational response in those cases? Doesn't it feel earned?
That's a really important question and a fair challenge. The text tackles this by differentiating between that proportional distrust, which is context-specific, and evidence-based.
Meaning, I distrust this specific company because of these specific actions they took.
Precisely. It's targeted. Versus absolute cynicism, which is the sweeping, catastrophic generalization.
The everyone is corrupt, everything is a lie approach.
Exactly. The core problem with cynicism, the authors argue, is that it's just too simplistic. Assuming that anyone offering anything, a political idea, a product, that initial gift we talked about, does so only and exclusively out of hidden self-interest. Well, it ignores how complex people are.
Because motivations are often mixed, aren't they?
Usually. Actions often stem from a blend of things. Maybe self-interest and a genuine desire to help the community. Or wanting profit and wanting to make a really good product. Or self-preservation and actual empathy.
Cynicism just flattens all that complexity.
It refuses to see the nuance.
Yeah.
It ignores the reality that society functions largely on mutual benefit, not pure altruism, which frankly isn't sustainable on a large scale.
Right. Cooperation works because usually both sides get something out of it.
Think about a basic market transaction. A cynic sees it purely as exploitation. But, if I buy a reliable car, the company makes money, sure, self-interest. But I also get a safe, useful vehicle that improves my life, mutual benefit.
It's a win-win, potentially.
Potentially. The source makes that key moral point. Seeking benefit or making money isn't the inherent problem. The problem is doing it by harming others, or through lies and deception.
But cynicism just assumes harm or deception is always part of the equation. It assumes a zero-sum game where if you gain, I must lose.
Always. It can't conceive of a scenario where both parties genuinely benefit.
Okay, so if we agree that some caution is natural and needed, but absolute cynicism is harmful, how do we actually build trust? Especially knowing that risks are real. What are the building blocks?
Trust, according to the source, isn't a thing you just give away. It's a structure you build. And it fundamentally requires evidence.
Actual proof over time.
Yes. And crucially, that evidence has to be sustained. It's not a one-off. You don't demand someone be trustworthy. You observe their actions repeatedly. It's built through consistent, positive, transparent interactions. It's an ongoing process.
Like building a good reputation, it takes time and consistency. One mistake might not ruin it,
But one cynical assumption can prevent that reputation from ever being built in the first place.
Oh, okay.
And that's the really damaging effect of cynicism. When that mindset takes over, every positive action looks suspicious.
Give me an example.
Okay, say a neighbor offers to help you carry a heavy sofa upstairs. The cynic doesn't see neighborly kindness. They immediately think.
Okay, what do they want? They're going to ask me for a huge favor next week.
Exactly. Or a compliment is just manipulation. Good advice is just a power play. Every potentially good intention gets instantly twisted into a hidden trap.
Wow. When you put it like that, you can see how it makes building anything together impossible.
That's why the source says cynicism makes it impossible to generate collective truth. If everyone's locked in their own little cell of suspicion, unable to believe in anyone else's sincerity,
then how can you cooperate? How can you have shared goals? How can you even agree on basic facts?
yeah, you can't. The foundations of community just crumble. We end up isolated, unable to work together effectively, purely because we've decided we can't trust anyone's motives. It atomizes us.
All right, so we've defined this modern cynicism. We've separated it from healthy caution. Now we get to what I think is the absolute core insight from this text. And honestly, this is where it gets really interesting and maybe a bit uncomfortable.
It's a challenging idea.
The central argument here is that cynicism often isn't just a reaction to the world, it's actually a very convenient strategy, a way to evade personal responsibility.
That's the kicker, isn't it? It completely reframes cynicism. It stops being just this unfortunate side effect of living in tough times.
And becomes a choice.
A choice, often subconscious, but a choice nonetheless. A choice made to kind of protect yourself, stay comfortable, and justify not really engaging or taking risks.
Because if the world really is as corrupt and manipulative as the cynic believes,
Then you're off the hook. You're absolved from having to try too hard, make difficult choices, risk failure, or even try to build something better. System's rigged anyway, right?
wow, that's powerful. It casts the cynic not as the wise, detached observer, but more like someone who's found a really smart-sounding excuse to stay on the sidelines and, throw stones without ever getting into the messy arena themselves.
Exactly. They get to criticize without participating in the difficult, uncertain work of trying to live authentically or make a difference.
Okay, let's break down how this evasion works. The source implies there are basically three main ways cynicism helps us dodge responsibility.
Right. 3 mechanisms that shield a person from accountability. The first one is the embrace of the victim status.
How does that work?
The internal logic is simple, almost elegant in its effectiveness. If everyone out there is a liar, a cheat, a bandit, then I'm just an innocent victim caught in the crossfire.
So anything bad that happens isn't my fault.
Never your fault. It's the ultimate way to shed personal agency. Think about the psychological comfort that provides. If you're struggling financially, or a relationship ends, or you're stuck in your career.
It's not because I made bad choices or didn't communicate well or failed to learn a new skill.
No. It's because the system is fundamentally unfair, the market is rigged, people are inherently untrustworthy. The blame is always out there.
But that's so dangerous for growth, isn't it?
Lethal. Why push for that big project at work if you assume the bosses are corrupt and will steal your ideas anyway? Why invest your heart in a new relationship if you assume betrayal is inevitable?
You gain the comfort of not being responsible.
But you pay for it by staying stuck. You become a passive observer in your own life story, forfeiting your power to change the plot.
Okay, what's the second mechanism of evasion? This one feels more intellectual.
It is. It's what we can call the futility of search. The argument goes like this. If genuine objective truth is impossible to find, because every source, every person is biased or lying.
Then why bother looking for it?
Exactly. It's not worth the effort. This gives you a free pass for intellectual laziness, basically, or spiritual resignation.
And let's be honest, in today's world with endless information, conflicting news, social media chaos, it's hard work to figure things out.
It's incredibly demanding. To really dig deep, read different perspectives fairly, check primary sources, that takes time and energy.
Cynicism offers a shortcut.
The perfect shortcut. Just assume everyone has an angle, all information is tainted by self-interest, and boom, you've saved yourself hours of difficult thinking.
It feels like critical thinking, but it's actually the opposite. It's surrender.
It's intellectual surrender, disguised as sophistication. You decide reality's unknowable, so you don't have to grapple with complexity anymore. You just assume the politician's plan benefits their donors, without reading the details.
You create a simple world, the truth that confirms your cynicism, and the lies that challenge it. And you stick with the easy one.
The one that requires the least effort and the least uncomfortable engagement with ambiguity.
Okay, victim status, futility of search. What's the third one? This sounds like the most damaging.
It arguably is. This is the moral free pass. The logic here is deeply corrosive. If you truly believe that everyone else lies, cheats, and cuts corners whenever they can,
then I have to do it too, just to survive. Or I can do it too, and who's to judge me?
Precisely. It becomes a justification for lowering your own ethical standards. It's a rationalization for behaving in ways you might otherwise condemn.
So it's not just about big corporate scandals, it's about everyday stuff.
Absolutely. It justifies the small dishonesties. Padding the expense report, because everyone does. gossiping or being passive-aggressive at work because you assume your colleagues are already plotting against you.
The internal voice says, I'm not being unethical, I'm just being realistic. I'm playing the game by the rules they set.
If I were honest and fair, I'd just be a sucker.
That's fascinating. The cynic uses the assumed bad behavior of others to give themselves permission to behave badly,
Thereby validating the very system of distrust they claim to despise. They become part of the problem they were supposedly protecting themselves from.
It really is a prison built from thoughts. If nobody else is responsible for being good, why should I be?
And that conclusion offers a huge psychological escape hatch from the constant, difficult effort required to maintain your own integrity in a messy, imperfect world.
But let's ground this again. The source isn't saying bad people don't exist, right? It's not advocating naive Pollyannaism.
Not at all. It explicitly says nature, and human nature, rarely acts in absolutes. We cannot and should not deny that harmful people exist, that situations can be uncertain, that institutions can be flawed. That's reality.
The key is the response.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The transformative choice is how you respond to that undeniable ambiguity and risk. You can retreat into cynicism and become paralyzed, maybe morally compromised and definitely isolated, or you choose agency. You accept the risk, yes, the possibility of being hurt or disappointed, but you insist on acting from your own place of authenticity and integrity, regardless of how others might behave.
And the text argues that's actually the stronger path.
It argues it's the path to being truly free. Working for things you care about, family, community, choosing to be genuine even when it feels vulnerable. That's what builds resilience. Freedom isn't avoiding risk. It's having the courage to act well despite the risk, despite knowing others might not return the favor. The source uses this really striking metaphor near the end. It calls cynicism the silent pandemic of our era.
Wow, a pandemic. That really forces you to think about the scale of it, how widespread it is.
And how it spreads almost invisibly. We think of pandemics hitting the body, right? Viruses, bacteria, things that cause physical symptoms, weaken muscles, damage organs.
Things you can often see or measure.
But this illness, cynicism, it's insidious. It doesn't attack your cells. It attacks your spirit, your mental framework. It doesn't weaken your body. It weakens the connections between people.
The bonds that hold everything together, families, friendships, communities, even society.
It's like a contagion of disconnection. The text paints this picture. Imagine every time you have one of those automatic cynical thoughts.
They're just saying that to get something.
Yeah. Every time that happens, it's like you're laying another invisible brick in a wall around yourself. You assume the friend's offer of help has strings attached brick. You decide the stranger's smile is fake. Another brick.
Each suspicion adds to the wall, creating more distance.
More distance from real connection, from vulnerability, from trust. Until eventually, you're walled in, alone inside this fortress you built yourself, supposedly for protection.
Self-imposed solitary confinement. And that leads directly to the hidden cost. The price you pay for this defense system. And the source is emphatic. This price is not paid with money.
It's paid in lost life, isn't it?
Profound, often irreparable personal loss. This is where the text really asks you, the listener, to do some potentially uncomfortable self-reflection.
Okay, what are the questions?
How many chances for real friendship, for deep love, for collaboration, for personal growth? How many of those opportunities have just evaporated because you immediately jumped to the worst-case scenario, because you assumed bad intent from the start?
You have to think about specific times, don't you? Maybe that potential mentor who reached out and you thought, nah, they just want my ideas, so you kept your distance.
Or a relationship that felt maybe too good, too easy, and that cynical alarm bell went off. This can't be real. What's the hidden flaw? This is definitely a trap. How many doors did we slam shut ourselves before even peeking through the keyhole to see what was actually there?
Because cynicism is essentially preemptive surrender. You decide the risk of disappointment or betrayal is just too high, so the only smart move is to withdraw completely, constantly.
And sure, that strategy works. You probably won't get betrayed if you never let anyone close.
Success. You avoid that specific pain. But the cost is you also guarantee you will never experience the incredible joy and transformation that comes from genuine, trusting human connection.
So the final bill comes due, and the source spells it out. The ultimate cost is loneliness, distrust, and a life of unexplored possibilities.
It's tragic, really. The very armor you built to protect yourself ends up suffocating you.
This makes us rethink what strength means, doesn't it? Because the cynic often feels strong, like they're the tough, realistic one who sees through it all.
They perceive their walls as strength, their suspicion as wisdom. But the text flips that completely. It insists that real strength isn't found in building walls.
It's in tearing them down.
It's in having the courage to tear them down, or at least put in a gate. Think about it. It takes zero courage to suspect everyone. That's easy. Fear is easy.
But offering trust, offering sincerity when you know things are uncertain, when you know you could get hurt.
That takes immense courage, real adult courage, to trust incrementally, step by step, knowing the risks involved in anything worthwhile.
And the text says, choosing authenticity is transformative.
Hugely transformative. Choosing to be genuine, even in a world that sometimes seems to reward the opposite. That's powerful, because genuine authenticity has a way of cutting through cynicism. When people encounter real, uncalculated sincerity, it forces them to react differently. They have to respond to the sincerity itself, not just another strategic move. It can actually invite them out of their own cynicism.
Okay, so if we accept this idea that cynicism is this prison we build with our own negative automatic thoughts, then we need the escape plan, right? We need the tools to start dismantling the walls.
Exactly. And the source doesn't just leave us with a diagnosis, it offers a prescription. 4 really practical, actionable steps. Think of them as cognitive tools for rewiring that cynical reflex.
These aren't just philosophical ideas, they're things you can actually do.
Right. Daily work. And the foundation, the starting point for everything else is practice self-observation.
Just noticing the thoughts.
Noticing them and questioning them systematically. Every time that familiar cynical voice pipes up inside your head.
Like, oh, they're only being nice because they want something later.
Yes. As soon as you hear that thought, you have to consciously stop it, hit pause in the internal monologue, and then interrogate it. Ask yourself, is this definitely true? What hard evidence do I have right now to prove this hidden motive?
You're catching the reflex in the act before it takes over your feelings and actions.
Exactly. Preventing the cynical thought from automatically becoming a cynical action or a cynical feeling.
Okay, so observe and question. What's tool number 2?
It flows directly from the first. Demand evidence, don't assume. This is about shifting your default setting, instead of automatically assuming the worst.
You start from a place of neutral inquiry.
Kind of. You consciously give genuine positive intention a chance. You give it the benefit of the doubt, provisionally, before jumping to the negative conclusion.
So going back to that gift example from the start.
Instead of instantly thinking it's worthless or it's a trap, you pause. You accept the gift. Maybe you say thank you, you evaluate it later, and you observe the person's behavior over time.
You investigate instead of just condemning up front.
You investigate. You gather data. You don't dismiss the possibility of goodwill just because acknowledging it might make you feel a tiny bit vulnerable or require patience. The source argues that consciously suspending that immediate judgment is the first real step towards mental freedom.
Okay, observe, demand evidence. What's third?
Third is a reminder, but it's crucial for putting this into practice. Remember, trust is built. We touched on this. But you have to internalize that trust isn't instant. It's long-term. It requires sustained, consistent, positive evidence over time. It's a process.
Why is remembering that so important practically?
Because it changes how you react to bumps in the road. If you know trust takes years to build properly, then one minor letdown, one miscommunication, one small disappointment doesn't have to mean, see, I knew it, everyone is untrustworthy.
It doesn't have to confirm the absolute cynicism.
Right. You can see it as just one data point in a complex, ongoing relationship. It allows for imperfection without destroying the whole foundation. It makes setbacks manageable instead of catastrophic validation of your worst fears.
That makes sense. Less all or nothing thinking. And the final tool, this one sounds like the hardest.
It probably is. It's the conscious decision to choose authenticity. And this has 2 sides. First, being really honest with yourself about your own motives and intentions.
You can't fight perceived phoniness in others if you're not being straight with yourself.
Exactly. And the second part is allowing vulnerability. But, and this is key, the text advises doing this consciously, carefully, in safe environments.
So it's not about oversharing with strangers.
Definitely not. Authenticity isn't spilling your guts to everyone. It's about choosing genuine transparency with people where some trust already exists or is being carefully built, close friends, family, maybe a mentor. It's about lowering the mask in appropriate contexts.
Because if you always interact from behind a mask, always performing or hiding,
you're essentially inviting cynicism from others, aren't you? You're contributing to the very atmosphere of distrust you dislike.
Okay, so those 4 tools. Observe, demand evidence, remember trust is built, choose authenticity. These lead up to a challenge.
Yes, the source proposes a kind of revolutionary experiment. This isn't just about understanding cynicism, it's about actively trying to change your own internal programming.
What's the experiment?
It's pretty straightforward, but potentially intense. For 1 full week, really commit to consciously challenging every single cynical thought the moment it arises.
Every time.
Every single time. That automatic voice of suspicion pops up. You stop it. You question it. You actively look for objective evidence before you let yourself pass judgment.
And you intentionally try to see the good.
You dare yourself to believe in genuine goodness, maybe even just for that week. Look for sincerity in small things. The waiter's smile, someone letting you merge in traffic, a colleague offering help. Assume positive or neutral intent first.
What's the goal of doing this for a week?
The crucial outcome isn't necessarily proving the world is suddenly wonderful. It's about observing the change inside yourself. The text suggests keeping notes, maybe a journal. How does actively fighting cynicism affect your stress levels, your energy, your mood? Does it open up possibilities you hadn't seen before because your own mental filters were blocking them?
Because the real goal isn't to change the world in a week, it's to free yourself from the burden of constant suspicion.
Exactly, to achieve that internal freedom. Hashtag outro.
So, wrapping up this deep dive, we've really unpacked how modern cynicism acts like this sophisticated defense mechanism, highly effective at protecting us from disappointment, maybe.
But it comes with this absolutely crushing personal cost.
Yeah, it's not just a way of looking at the world. The source calls it a prison we build with our own thoughts. That phrase really sticks with me.
It does. It creates this bleak, static reality inside your head where trying seems pointless and real connection feels either impossible or just far too dangerous.
And we saw how it cleverly allows us to dodge responsibility, justify our own inaction, maybe even compromise our own integrity, all while feeling like we're just being realistic.
That seductive feeling of being smart, of being savvy.
But the really powerful takeaway here, the hopeful part, is that this isn't deterministic. The choice to shift gears, to operate from curiosity instead of condemnation, that's always available, isn't it?
Always. The choice to demand evidence, to offer measured authenticity instead of blanket suspicion, you, the listener, can make that choice right now. It's like flipping a switch, telling your thoughts they need to serve your growth, not just your fear.
You hold the key.
You and only you hold the key to unlocking yourself from that mental prison. Just by systematically questioning that automatic assumption of bad intent, by daring to see the complexity in people that they're driven by mutual benefit, often genuine motives, not just pure selfishness. That's where the transformation begins. You start reclaiming your own agency, your own potential for a much richer life.
And since the source really hammers home authenticity and vulnerability as the antidotes, the way out of the cynical prison, here's a final thought for you to chew on this week, especially as you maybe try some of these tools.
Okay.
If cynicism is a defense mechanism built on the fear of being hurt, take a moment and ask yourself, what specific vulnerability am I protecting most fiercely with this cynical armor? What part of myself am I afraid to let be seen without defenses?
That's a deep question.
And the follow-up is, what growth, what connection, what possibility am I sacrificing to keep that protection absolute? What is the true cost of maintaining those walls?
Something to really sit with. Until next time, keep asking those tough questions.
And challenge those automatic thoughts.
I've mastered doubt. It's such a thrill. When kindness comes, I take it ill. That helping hand, a hidden knife. Suspicion is my way of life. My neighbors brought me soup when sick. I threw it out. What's their real trick? Cynicism taught me this great rule. Trust no one pure. They're playing full. Oh, cynicism's glorious. It saves me from community. Cynicism's victorious. I've achieved pure immunity. My doubt protects like heavy chains. No friendships warmth, no love, sweet pains. I've won this game by never playing while in my room alone decaying. That job promotion someone got, they cheated clear. I know the plot, that couple smiling just